time is it now?
Check. 3:22.
Let's aim for be under this before 50. That'll put
Classic 40-minute
yeah.
with 2 games.
Let's try.
Lulz.
Hello and welcome into the Section 109 podcast from Studio Breezy. Talking is difficult, Matthew, because I did a lot of yelling this weekend. How are you doing, buddy? How's the vibes? Where are we at? Give me a vibe check.
Vibe check. Let's start with the women because we're going to start with them.
Let's do it.
Today first, and it was the most recent game. Disappointed with the result. A little bit disappointed with the performance because we kind of got a little bit battered in that game. But also, I see the progress. I see where, like, what we're trying to do is coming together, and it's just not there yet. But like, if you were to ask me, so like, okay, think about this. Last season at this time, we had do we have 2 draws? Do we have 2, a win and a draw?
A win and a draw.
I forget who we play. Oh, we played like Birmingham or something like that. Some shitty team. Okay. But like our first 2 results against Nashville and Knoxville was a home draw with Nashville, 2-2. And then an away draw at Knoxville, 2-2. Both requiring 2-goal comebacks. And if you look at how those games developed, so like 2 draws, right? If you look at how those games developed versus how these games developed, this is a better team by and large. Like, they control the game better. I think the pieces are overall better, but like, it's just not quite there. Like, the results aren't quite there yet. And, you know, the next 2 games versus Knoxville and Nashville that year were kind of blowout losses, right? Like, it wasn't great. So I want to see what this team is like against the rest of the conference. There's some good teams in this conference. Like, Georgia Impact will play them later on the road. That's a good team. They were, we didn't see them last year. They lost by a goal to Nashville on Saturday. I think this team's got something in it. I don't know what the playoff situation is like, and 2 games in with no points, I think we're out of it already. But this team still has something to prove, and it's an 8-game season, so like we're 25% done. So we need to see it against Birmingham.
So let's go to the lineups.
So Lily Kate Verino back in goal, Anna Land captain, right back. New addition to the squad, Abby Merrick. I think she's an incoming UTC transfer. She joined the team last week. She goes straight in at center back. Hannah Opie, who started at left back in the last game, and then her and Billie Jean switched positions in the early 60s. Excuse me. Hannah gets the start at left center back. I think that means that back line was a lot more athletic. I think you saw that the payoff there during the game. Billie Jean Davies starts at left back. Excuse me. Caitlin Gauze at center defensive midfield, alongside new addition Jana Van Broomlin. She did not have her ITC.
You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm dying. I'm like choking up air here.
You got the Ozempic burps here?
Ozempic. Which one is that?
That's the weight loss drug.
Oh, I wish.
It just makes people burp. That's the only thing I know about it. I was just making fun of you.
So Jana gets the start. She did not play in the last game because she was waiting for our ITC to get cleared. It did. She started. Her and Caitlin formed a double pivot. I thought it helped in terms of our stability. Sierra Casamento got the start at the 10 position.
What number does she wear?
22. Eleonora Franco, goal scorer. On the left side, Summer Hernandez got the start at the 9, and Juliet Lucas got the start as kind of like a target right winger, which was an interesting choice, and I thought it paid off, especially early in the match. So yeah, that's your starting lineup.
So I didn't see as much of this one as I would have liked. So I'm sure I'll pitch in here, but take me through.
Thanks for capoing, by the way. So yeah,
Ellie, we need you back. I'm dead.
Well,
I'm dead. And shout out to both Vic and Jay, who put in heroic shifts to bail me out because I had no more voice left and not a lot of energy left, but my voice was cracking every time I tried to go above about 40% effort. It was not good.
So like I thought we had a really good first 30 minutes or so. Like really, really good. We were in control.
I saw large.
The game was being
Jay was
played.
filling in at that point. I saw large portions of that first 30 minutes, and it unfortunately gave me a lot of hope.
The game was played on our terms, and
unlike the last 60 minutes, the first 30 minutes were played on our terms, and the last 60 minutes were not.
And it really benefits us when the game is played on our terms.
Thank you.
We had
Confucius.
we were covering off any danger. Our possession game was good, and at times we were able to get the ball wide and into space.
And we were up 1-0. We should have been up 2 or 3-0.
And so like the first goal comes in the 13th minute, and it's a great ball, and I forget who plays it over the top into space. And Eleonora is just by herself, and she takes a couple dribbles and then lashes it, and it goes right at the keeper, and then she just kind of sticks with it, and Ciara is in there and trying to get another shot off, and the ball kind of just squirts out to Eleonora, and she just does this like really nice dribble move where she collects the ball and just kind of like sides it around a defender, and then just bangs it into the top corner. No chance of saving that thing. And it's 1-0 in the 13th minute, and we feel pretty good about things. And like a deserved 1-0. We came out raring to go. And like, I don't know if we should have had 2 or 3 or anything like that. But we were solidly.
We had a couple moments that if we make a little better pass or a little better touch, we were in 1-on-1 on goal. And that was basically all she wrote, because that's all we created all game was that first 30 minutes. We basically didn't create anything after that.
So, you see some subs, which is typical in the WPSL. I think.
Well, it's not real typical for us. This is the first year that we're subbing early and often, which is good. The last 2 years we have not subbed early and often.
Yeah,
we have subbed like when we absolutely have to, and when somebody's about to fall over and keel over dead from running up and down. So I am very happy with the
sub patterns are definitely good
and better sub patterns
from us. I think it just speaks to the little bit more depth that we have this year compared to previous years.
It's also having a different coaching style as well.
For sure.
Randy chose to play differently. This is no knock, but chose to play one way. Tommy's choosing to play another way, including how he handles his subs.
So you see some subs from us. You see some subs from Knoxville.
Knoxville subbed about 450 times in this game.
I think,
including about 45 times in the last 10 minutes.
I think that obviously the Heat played a little bit of a role.
They just wasted the last 10 minutes of the game though.
While
being up, which is why unlimited subs shouldn't be a thing.
Correct.
They shouldn't be a thing anyway, but like Knoxville genuinely wasted the last 10, 15 minutes of that game by subbing every minute, give or take, every 2 minutes. Like they were just sub after sub after sub after sub. And you waste 10 seconds, you waste 15 seconds, and you waste 10 seconds, and it disrupts the rhythm of the everything. The ball went out, they were making a sub.
So the tide starts to turn, especially the last 15 minutes of the first half, and Knoxville starts really growing into the game, growing into the ascendancy. They do that classic women's soccer thing where they just shoot on sight, any opportunity. If it's a half chance, if it's a quarter chance, if it's a big chance.
What did we spend all last season yelling?
Pull. And like with good.
Miss you, Samantha Maudsley.
Yeah, with good effect. And I thought Lily Kate had a great game. A fantastic game. So many saves. I don't know the number of saves, but it was
about
lot.
5 million catches and some saves too, which they count the same. But like
there were some real good diving saves.
Catch, diving save, catch, diving save, catch. I mean, it was just like it's almost like target practice.
A little bit, yeah. Had a real good game. Had to deal with a lot, and handled it really well. And then there were a couple unbelievable saves in there too.
Yeah, she had some good ones for sure.
Second half comes out. We change. We make one change at halftime from the starting 11, and that was Riley Brown, who, side note, wears number 5. It's great as a winger. I love it. we don't really have. We are first 30 minutes. We were on it. The game's on our terms. We're playing our kind of football. Oh, I forgot to mention the Knoxville goal right before halftime. It's just one of those classic. I think we switched off for a second, and Knoxville plays the ball in behind. And I think it's the winger or maybe the forward in the right channel coming across.
Well, and the winger / forward there is just too fast. Like she's
ridiculously athletic.
She's already running, and when the ball's played, it's a great ball into back behind, and there's just no catching up.
Right, and good finish into the bottom corner. So
I mean, that's one of those chances if you create it, especially in women's soccer where your goalkeepers are not spectacularly tall, like you're going to score a lot of those. And that's the kind of chance that we want to create too. That's the kind of chance everybody wants to create. Like that is a very, very high quality chance that they converted pretty easily.
So second half, we did not come back out with this same kind of intensity. Maybe not the right word. We're not able to take the game back from Knoxville. The game is still played on Knoxville's terms. And it's unfortunate that at 56th minute, there's a mistake at the back in the build up that there's a miscommunication that directly leads to a goal. And we're just not able to recover from there. Knoxville was just better. And if it wasn't for that goal, like there was, 10, 15 other shots, like one of those might have squeaked in. And that's just kind of life. So, and frankly, we weren't that threatening until the very, very, very end, where we got a couple like half looks, a couple set pieces that you just never know, including one I think we sent just over the bar. So, it's definitely unfortunate not to get anything out of that game, because I think this team is good enough too. And so the mission is going to be when they go down to Birmingham on Saturday the 8th of June. Yeah, Saturday the 8th of June. Are they prepared to be ruthless? Like, is Birmingham the same kind of team as it was last year? And when I say that, I mean awful. And number two, like, are we the type of team that's going to pussyfoot around? Or are we the type of team that's going to be ruthless when we're the better team? And that's going to be, and we'll see about both of those questions on the weekend.
Yeah, we don't know what the playoff picture looks like, but that's the part that sucks. Like, it is likely that if the last 2 years are any indication, the top team will go through, unless there's a team that doesn't want to play anymore, and then maybe the second place team will go through and win it all. Shout out Charlotte Eagles. But you can't come out of the first two games with no points and expect to.
It just makes everything incredibly difficult. Because like the game, it's no longer in your hands.
It wasn't in our hands if we didn't get points out of both of those games.
Yeah. So like you could win your next 6 games, and it still, you're not guaranteed, even if you do everything right, the next 75% of the season. It's just not in your hands anymore. And,
it's bullshit. There's only one team coming out as far as we know. And look, if there's 4 teams coming out, like, this is a different season. But, that was a real gut punch and is a real gut punch. Like, we seem to have improved based on these 2 games, but not that much.
No, I disagree with that. I really do. I think we've improved a lot from year 2 to year 3. But if we're going to be, and I've just got confirmation here, it's the top of the table, the first team in the conference. So like, we're clearly, we were aiming to be at that standard. And while we're closer, we're not there yet.
We're nowhere close.
And
we just got beat 4-1, and we should have got beat 4-1 a second game.
Okay. But that wasn't a 4-1 game the first time. So like, let's
it's a bummer, man. I thought we were better. And it also sucked to have the 30 minutes where we looked real good. And then to come out and lay an egg after that. Like, there was we lost that second goal. We lost our edge after that, and we lost our, I don't want to say effort, but we lost like whatever competitive edge that we had going in the first 30 minutes was gone after they scored their second goal. and we never looked like we were going to find it again. And that part's frustrating because you want to see the fight at all times and the fight into the everything else. And, I don't know if it was discouragement. I don't know if it was, just being overmatched and like having played maybe out of your skin the first 30 minutes. But yeah, that one sucked.
Yeah. So 6 more games. And now you basically need to win all 6 to give yourself a chance. And that may not be enough, but we got to put points on the board. We got to put them on fast. So let's move on to the earlier game on the weekend, which was the men's game versus New England Revolution 2, a game that ended 1-0 and 3 points for the boys in a shutout. And we all walked away smiling from that one. And not because that was a dominating 1-0 performance. We got it done. We looked amazing. No, not really.
No. 2 days in a row, we were not the better team.
But also, I'd rather be lucky than good.
Correct.
So let's go into the men's game. Starting lineup was there were some changes in this one. I think 3 changes overall. So Jean-Antoine in goal. Jesse Williams came back into the team at right back. Farid Zarzar moved over to right center back to replace Anatoly Prepelica. Duvan Viafar at left center back. Milo at left back. Jude Arthur as, I would call this the lone 6.
We're back to a 4-3-3 again.
Which is interesting.
Very interesting.
You had Alex McGrath and Andres Jimenez Aranzazu as your 8/10s in midfield. Jalen James comes in to replace Taylor Gray at right wing. Jesus Sabaro at left wing. Mehdi Womri at striker. So, I think we were both concerned after the Atlanta game that Anatoly was carrying some sort of knock, some sort of injury, and it seems like he was held out for precautionary reasons, and hence the lineup shift. And I thought from the New England game that I thought New England had a great game plan for us. I thought they didn't come out and press us at all, really. They tried to compact their lines. Remember the Flower City games from early in last season, and really the Stars as well. Early in last season, how they wouldn't press, but they'd play a pretty high line, and they're kind of like their forward line, their midfield line, and their defensive line would all be within about 25 yards of each other, just real compressed, and just trying to make it hard for us to play through. And I thought New England set up intentionally that way, and made it really difficult for us. And we weren't good enough with the ball at large stretches of that game. And fair play to New England for coming out with a good game plan and executing it well. They really tried to get us to turn the ball over, playing through, and then get numbers, and they were able to do so a decent amount. Should they have taken some of their chances better? Yeah, they really should have. And we also made some great defensive plays to recover, to turn
a lot of block shots,
to turn good chances into okay chances for New England. Just kind of lowering the percentage that something might happen. I thought Jean had a great game, made a couple unbelievable saves to keep us in it. I thought Farid and Duvan played well, blocking shots, staying in front, making angles harder to shoot from. I thought Jude had another good game, especially as the lone 6. And it's one of those days where, we've talked about this before, that if we create a bunch of chances and we don't put them away,
we've been there a lot of times.
You keep
especially in Nisa.
You keep a game, a team in the game, and you provide you provide an opportunity. You provide them a little hope, and New England kind of did that for us, and also our play, like our guys made plays to give ourselves hope to keep rallying, and I think there was a little bit of naivete in some of New England's young players. And
it's a thing we've talked about a bunch on this podcast, which is the defending in this league can be naive, and it's young defenders, and you need to have experience, and that's one of our advantages.
Yeah.
And you saw it in this game with the guy picking up a stupid yellow when he shouldn't have, and then another stupid yellow when he shouldn't have. The first one's a soft yellow, but like it's a yellow.
It's a yellow. He cleans out Medi from the back, like.
But I'm saying, like,
and he didn't need to. That's
exactly,
the problem.
like it's and when I say it's soft, a lot of times the player gets away with that as just a foul.
Yeah.
Right. But like the referee calls it letter of the law. It's definitely a yellow.
Yep.
Gets the yellow. The second one is just moronic, but also it is a young defender making a dumb decision.
Yeah.
And he was beaten. And he makes a tactical foul, and it's a second yellow, and he's off. And from then on, we did exactly what we needed to do, and we capitalized and really took the game to them for the next, 22 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
till
the red card
extra time.
happens in about, I think the foul happens in 72. The red card's given in the 73rd minute. And right there, the ensuing free kick is a dangerous opportunity. There's a similar, I guess right after that is the Taylor Gray chance where, Andres has an unbelievable ball through.
So good.
To Taylor. And New England covers it off well. Like there's a couple defenders back, so Taylor's got to cut it back. And the cutback is
turns into a
turns into a corner on the shot. And then you've got another free kick opportunity that we aren't able to do anything. We're not able to score from or anything like that, but it's another opportunity for us. You've got the, I think about the late. So we did a good job of managing the game. I think after we scored the goal. Speaking of the goal, like a set piece, great play from Jesus to earn the free kick in the middle of the field. Big ball in from Alex. That's like a drifting ball that he's very clearly looking for Jude on the back post. Or towards the back of the line. I think Taylor does a great job there of just being a little bit in the way, screening Jude's defender.
It's very good.
Jude plays a ball across.
Just heads it back across.
Just heads it back across, like create a little danger. And
Medi scores his second worldie of the season.
Medi might, like, we'll talk about this in a second, but I think this will be a fun conversation. But like, not only does Medi like score an unbelievable bicycle kick, he has, it's not like he just decides, oh, that's coming over my head, I should probably, I'll bike that. Why not? Like, I'm in space, no one's around. Medi's got to hold off a guy. He's got to like do that target man thing, get position, hold position, and then bike the ball.
It's perfect.
It is
literally
an
perfect.
Unbelievable bit of strikering.
It's so good.
And when you let a team in the game, and you don't put them away, and you make a stupid decision to now all of a sudden give them an advantage, you let players have an opportunity to make plays. And
boy did he.
And boy did he. Just a great bit of skill from Medi. I think we handled the next 10 minutes post goal really, really well.
Much better than we have the last few times, but it's also because we have numerical advantage.
Helps. But sometimes you never know with a numerical advantage. Like sometimes a team goes down to 10 men and they almost get better. And that's just not what happened here.
That gave
so much life.
That just gives bad teams an alibi.
Yeah.
That excuse, it's harder to play against 10, which I've heard, and I heard a lot from a bad team. It's an alibi.
It can be harder to play against 10 if that team with 10 decides to like manages it well and decides to use it well.
If you get a red card in the 11th minute and now the team is fully bunkered in, sure, it becomes more difficult to break them down. But come on, dude. It's just an excuse for bad teams to be like, it's harder to play against 10. No, it's not. Bullshit.
Okay, well, I think that's a hot take.
I think saying it's harder to play against 10 men than 11 is a ridiculous hot take.
I'm not saying that. But it can be a little bit depending on the circumstance and how the other team decides to play it. New England did not even try to bunker.
Well, this is MLS Next Pro. No, at least in the East.
So nobody's bunkering here.
Nobody. Well, actually, that's not true. Huntsville bunkers.
I don't know what Huntsville does
a
anymore.
little bit.
I think they go.
They should bunker more.
They go one to 1 week to the next. You just never know what they are. That's not the point. New England tried to play it like with 10 men, like they did with 11, and quite clearly the numerical advantage mattered a lot for us. We were able to make that advantage work for us. Minjae Kwok was introduced. I should actually say this now. Taylor was introduced for Jalen at halftime. Minjae was introduced
right
in
before the
79th.
goal.
Like literally subbed in. Goal happens.
You can hear the Cheddar Hooligans us doing a Minjae chant for welcoming him into the game and as his first appearance for the club, and it happens like they scored during that.
Yeah,
it's great.
Minjae replaced Andres and played as one of the 210s, which is interesting. From our perspective, considering we were thinking he would be more of a winger, maybe a little bit of an outside back cover.
You've been saying right back. I've been saying winger, and Rod said, "Ha ha ha, fuck y'all."
He's gonna play the 10.
He's gonna play the 10,
which was interesting. We do a great job of managing the game, and we kind of get two moments later in the. We get kind of two moments later in the game.
I thought Mehdi was gonna get a tap in.
Yeah, it was
Taylor's ball across is just agonizingly just in front of him.
McGrath plays a great ball in behind for Taylor in space, and I think Taylor's trying to shoot. Like it's one of those situations where he can shoot, he can cross. If he drags it just a little bit more wide, then it's a tap in for Mehdi.
Or if Mehdi's one step ahead,
yeah, or
which he's not. None of it's like.
And if he hits the target, it's a goal. Like it's just one of those great plays that you want to make because that's a game sealer, right? And it ultimately didn't matter. Mehdi had an unbelievable bit of like took a ball to a corner, and then like the guy gave him a gap, like 15 seconds to go,
and he spun around,
and he just spun hm and laid it for Minjae, and Minjae's shot was deflected, and that was the ball game because they never even bothered to have us take the corner kick. I thought the guys showed a tremendous amount of resilience in that game, and. Even though they weren't the better team for 73 minutes, they hung in there. They made things tougher. New England didn't take advantage,
and we didn't
break. We never broke.
We were bending but not breaking, and then we did not make in the last 3 games. We have made a defensive error of some kind that has led directly to a goal. We made none of those errors in this game.
No, not at all.
Like even our bad touches were not like that.
Yeah.
Or our bad passes were not like that. And that was very helpful. We didn't shoot ourselves in the foot.
And in some ways, that's the story of the match more so than, kind of bending and not breaking. It was and hanging through and getting 3 points.
It was a mature and veteran performance where we were outmatched tactically and maybe talent-wise or maybe just sharpness on the day. Whatever it was, we were outmatched the first 70 minutes.
Yeah. But
we did the veteran thing, drew the 2 yellow cards in, a 10-minute span or whatever it was, got the red card, and then just absolutely took advantage of
turned it on
after that. And so much so that, Analysis Evolved's number is wrong. It is based on what my rewatch and my memories. And my rewatch is better than my memories because I was capwaying this one. But I can say that while I think their number is wrong, they have our number being evened up essentially between the 20 minutes that we were up a man and then their 70 minutes of dominance or whatever you want to call it. And while I don't think the numbers were even, it was a much more by the end of the game, much closer to, not fully even, but closer to even game on the chance creation side by the end of it because of how we took advantage of those last 20 minutes.
So the CFC match article has the XG at 1.34 for CFC to 2.15 for New England. Analysis Involved has their XG meter at 1.34 for CFC to 1.3 for New England, which they're 2 different models, right? Number 1. Number 2, I think our model is more of a live number. So it could be affected a little bit by if we mark the shot in a slightly different place because it's in live time. And I used to do this kind of stuff when I when I had a Palm Pilot. I'm dating myself here. When I had a Palm Pilot on the sidelines of high school basketball, and I would have the shot chart, and I'd be like You watch a shot and you mark it on the screen. You know, if you're marking something like that in live time, especially if you're trying to do it quick, or you're watching an entire sequence and then you're plotting the entire sequence after the fact, like you miss, and I'll use my Palm Pilot example, like you miss just slightly where that shot comes from, and it can affect the number, which I'm not saying is what happened here, but like also models just look different based on, you know, defenders that are in the way, or, you know, if it comes off of a volley, if it comes into a half volley, like.
Well, there's one you and I looked at that was our guess is one of them classified as a shot and one classified as a cross.
Yeah, and it's a pretty big chance, big opportunity that could be not the whole chasm. But
look,
like
if you tell me it was 2.0 to 1.3, okay. You also, if you tell me it was 1.7 to 1.2 or 1.3, like also cool.
But the point is, most of ours
before that, it was going to be like 1.7 to like 0.5 or whatever. Most of what we generated was after in that last 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's where
we generated very little.
And I think if you look at the game flow chart, I think that bears out. You see possessions that New England has. They're registering as higher. This is not like shot based, but they're registering like higher numbers for possession value. And then at the red card, you see that completely flip, and it's CFC with higher value possessions.
Of course.
And
I can't overstate how much better we were, just how good we were after the red card.
So like goals change games, right?
Yes.
Red cards change games.
Yes.
And in fact, red cards change games so much that like you throw out the analytics at that
Correct.
point. Which is sometimes why in early seasons, especially if there's a red card, but also just early season variants, like why you can't rely on data like to be so crisp at first.
Also, you can look at what game state and look at when somebody went ahead, and if somebody goes ahead in the 15th minute, 4 out of 9 games or whatever, that skews their data massively because they're ahead from the beginning and you play differently. But yeah, it felt really good because we have so often been on the other end of those games where we create more than the other team and then we just don't put it away.
Yeah.
And look, I don't want to take away from the guys. Like we had a lot of key blocks, we had a lot of key saves, and we did a lot of like just enough to, like you said, take great chances, turn them into good chances, take good chances, turn them into okay chances, take okay chances, turn them into bad chances. Like we did enough. We were smart. It was a veteran performance, and we deserved those 3 points because we did enough to make it happen, including drawing that red card. But also, there's another world where it's 2-0 when that red card happens, and it doesn't matter. So thank goodness we had a mature veteran performance. We took care of business, and we got 3 points at home, 3 massive points at home in our playoff hunt, where we're now, what are we, 13 games in or 12 games in?
We're 12 games in.
We're 12 games in. We are halfway.
And we're on 25 points.
We are halfway through the regular season now, right? Playing 24 or 28?
We play 24. I'm sorry. No, we play 28.
Okay.
Games.
So we need we're 2 games away from half. After the Orlando away and the Chicago away, flip those timeline-wise, but after the Chicago and then following that, the Orlando away, we will be at halfway through the season. And if we are top 4, and those 2 teams are above us in the stand, or could be above us in the standings. I think Chicago still has a couple games in hand, and Philadelphia is now past us, I believe.
Yep.
If those 2 teams, and those are probably, plus New York Red Bulls and us, are probably the 4 best teams, at least points-wise, and I would argue in performance-wise for large portions of this first half of the season.
I have bad news for you about the Red Bulls.
They're falling precipitously down the table?
Yeah, they're 7th now in the East.
Well, they were really good the first 5 games, but this is a weird league. So my only point is this is a big measuring stick chance for us against 2 teams away from home. And I'm going to put it out there right now. If we come home with 2 points total, that could be a shootout win and a loss. That could be 2 draws, 2 shootout losses, which I'm not wishing for. But if we come home with 2 points out of this road trip, I will feel good about the road trip because we were playing away twice. I believe we were playing on grass both times.
Yeah.
And we are playing against 2 teams that should be as good, and Philly is the class of the East, it looks like. And I want to win, obviously, but 2 points or more in total out of this road trip, and it's a good road trip.
Chicago's been really good in stretches this season, and Orlando's been really good at home.
Oh yeah, we're not playing Philly yet. Sorry, we're playing Orlando.
Yeah.
And my fault.
Orlando's got 2 wins and 2 draws at home.
Orlando is good. I'm still going to stay with the 2-2. for some reason thinking the Philly game was now for a dumber, even though I said the Orlando game. I will still say the same thing, though. We're still playing grass. All the same things apply. We're just less overmatched against Orlando. But look, Orlando was good against us at home.
That was a good team. We created a lot of stuff and we should have won that game, but Orlando was they played us well.
Yes, and Orlando it is a tough team to play against. They demolished Huntsville. They are solid. They are still one of the top probably 6 teams at easily, definitely top half. And I'll go back to where I said, still, this is a big test for us, and it is get 3 at home, get 1 on the road, and see where the chips fall.
Yeah. This is why you don't look at standings week to week, by the way, about determining teams, because Orlando's currently in 9th in the East, but the eye test, they seem pretty good.
Or how many draws does Orlando have?
They're 4-4 they're 4 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws.
Interesting. They do pass the eye test. You're right. It's a good point.
So they're partially
every time
down.
I watch them, except for the first 2 games or the first couple games of the season that I watched, I wasn't that impressed. But every time I've watched them recently, including against us, I've been like, damn, that's a good team.
Now they lost to Miami on the weekend,
and they have the Japanese kid that they just signed to a first team deal. If he's gone, if they take him up, and I don't know that they're going to.
They signed him to a first team deal, or just do a short term call up for him?
I thought they signed to a first team deal.
I think it was a short term call up.
Okay. Regardless, if they lose him for some games, that's going to affect them because he is far and away their best player. He's the player that created the goal against us. He's real fucking good.
And you got to remember, Orlando is not getting. So Orlando's Golden Boot guy from last year,
was it Jack McLinn?
Jack Lynn.
Oh, Jack Lynn.
I believe is barely playing next pro minutes because he's regularly on the bench
for the first team
because he scored 17, 19 goals last year.
That's also how this is supposed to work in this league. Guys on 2 teams are supposed to go up.
Yeah.
But I really want to get 2 points and then let's see where they fall. And if we get 2 points, we're at 27 points. That would put us at 27. Are we 25 now?
We're at 25 points right now.
If we can get 2 points total on this road trip, at halfway through, we'll be at 27 points. We're on pace at that point for 54 points. I believe the winner of the East was 65 last year.
66 points last year was the winner of the East, which is a ridiculous sum. And Philly might hit it.
But if we hit 55, and we're extrapolating big here now, but we're halfway through the season, you can start to do some extrapolation. If we continue at that pace of getting 55 points, we will be top 4.
54 points last year was Columbus Crew, who went on to lose in the final.
Correct.
As the 3rd place team from the East. 54 points was third place. Was there. And
I just think that 55 points, 56, 50, 50, 54.
Yeah.
If we get to 54, and that's a big if, but if we get to 54, I believe we'll get a home playoff game.
It was a short-term agreement.
Was a short-term agreement? Okay.
For Utah.
He's still playing, and I think he got his I think he got a minute at the end of one of these games or whatever. Point being, if you're getting called up for the MLS first team, you're pretty good. That kid's nasty. If they miss him for some games, including if the first team wants to take him on the road when we're down there, as an example, or wants to play him, or whatever happens, that could change a game a lot. They're more than one player. They're a solid team, but he is an absolute game changer. Matthew, we have essentially 1 minute left until we were aiming to be done.
Nice.
I think we did a pretty good job.
I'm shocked.
Neither you or I have our normal 3 key takeaways. I don't really have a lot of key takeaways. I am still absolutely reeling from this weekend, and I think it was a lot. It was a great weekend. It was fun overall, even with the women's loss. But it was a lot, and I'm not recovered enough to have my brain.
Let me say this. I think I'll do one takeaway for the women's team.
Sure.
I think there is more from this team, and it absolutely, even if the playoffs is first in the conference, right, which is going to be incredibly difficult. These next 6 games matter a lot because at some point, and I realize it's a short season, it's a short sample size. Stuff can get really weird in a small sample size. I think we've taken a step forward. I think looks like we probably haven't taken enough of a step forward, but we have to get some results now. That is critical that we start putting results together.
In an 8-game season, it doesn't matter how you play. It matters if you win.
You just have to get results. And so we're about to really learn what this team is made of these next few games. and sometimes like, you can play pretty well and a result doesn't go your way. And we're going to find out what this team really is now. On the men's side, I guess my takeaway, almost the points matter. The 3 points, the win, the shutout, all of that matters more technically. But from an analysis point of view, for a nerd like me, I think that what maybe is more important than pulling off the win in that game is that was a complete defensive performance where there was no catastrophic mistake made. And I think that's really important I think it's really important for the guys. I think it's really important for everyone's confidence, like in terms of like playing together. That like, look, it was a tough game, like, but we also made some plays. We also covered.
We also didn't have our first choice lineup where we didn't have
correct. So it's even.
Yeah, it's even better. Yeah.
So it's even better. And you add up that there was no mistake, so that like that instills belief in a group. That also, as long as we don't beat ourselves,
yes, we can
hang in and we can get the job done. And then our defensive players are going to make plays. Our goalkeeper's going to make plays. And if you keep that thing at 0-0, one of our offensive players is going to make a big play. Also, that is massive, especially when you get into a situation where it's not like the NISA playoffs anymore, where it's a semifinal to final, boom, you're done. Like, there are 4 weeks of playoffs. Like one game a weekend, then the next weekend, then the next weekend, and then the next weekend is a final.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a situation like playoffs, especially in that kind of format, are not a situation where, like it's a vibes-based economy. It's the power of friendship. And it's just like, no matter what happens, no matter what's going on in the moment before, the moment after is the one you need to win. And that's the kind of thing that as this team builds, and you got to remember, like, we're 12 games in, but in a lot of ways we're 6, 7, 8 games in. In terms
second preseason,
in terms of betting the guys together.
Yep.
Like, this team's got a long way to go. But like, results like these give us time. And,
and look, this was a step forward in the process, right?
A great step forward.
And look, unfortunately, it's a little different in the women's season. It was a little different in the MPSL season because when the season is 8 games long,
there's no room for
process. There is room to get better as the season. Bill Elliott's teams always got better as the season went on, and by the time we were in the playoffs, we were a well-oiled machine, right?
And that's why Bill Elliott's teams,
but we won early,
always had so many returners. Number one, they were already good, right? But like, having so many returners, which is the thing that we did not do this year with the women's side in terms of key impact players. There's just fewer that came back, right? Bill Elliott's teams had so many returners back, and so like, you always had, like, you had immediately, because in a short 8, 10, 12 game season, the results mattered and there's no room for fuck ups, that those guys could get results early while everything else gelled together. And so what I want to see from okay, we've lost 2 games on the women's side. What I want to see from now on is like, can the process come together quickly? Because, okay, maybe we're not going to be in a playoff situation by the end of the year. Maybe something crazy happens and teams fuck up and you gotta play yourself through it, right? But let me look ahead. It's a little too early. It's 25% through the season. If you look ahead to 25,
I know where you're going with this. I want to kick you.
If you look ahead to 25, like, did we get it right this year? Are these players the right ones to bring back in 25 so that you could bring in a couple more top level players to add to the group? Because we're pretty clearly not going to go challenge for a title this year. Right? But the goal is always to challenge for a title. So look at the situation from like actual reality. And now that's where I'm looking at. 25. How do we get there? Because we have to get there. Like, it's not enough to just have a team.
Preaching to the choir here.
Got to win games. Got to figure it out. So like, we'll see what happens.
Listeners, viewers, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, please. Sorry, I know there were some questions in the comments and I did not write them down. So, Albert, we'll get to you. I love you. And see you guys in a couple weeks. We don't have home games for a minute. I think the watch parties of the Moxie, you and I are going to be away. So, we plan to be.
There's a watch party at the Moxie. There's a watch party at Buffalo Wild Wings. I forget which one's which.
It's Moxie, then Buffalo Wild Wings, I believe. If it's flip-flopped, I apologize. Check CFC social medias, and we will catch up with y'all soon. Peace.